sky me, where brains go to broadcast.
Welcome back. Today we are going straight to the absolute foundation of all good writing. We're tackling something that almost everyone gets wrong. The paragraph.
It's so true. It sounds simple, but it's a huge stumbling block.
Yeah, and if you ask someone, what is a paragraph? What's the answer you usually get?
Oh, 9 times out of 10, it's something about length. They'll say it has to be 5 sentences or, it should be about half a page.
Right.
And that is probably the biggest myth we need to just get rid of right now.
It's this widely held idea that has nothing to do with structure. So if you forget everything else today, just remember this. A paragraph is not defined by how many words are in it. It's defined by its focus.
Precisely. A paragraph is a unified, coherent group of sentences that all support one single idea, and we call that the controlling idea.
The controlling idea.
It's the director, really. It dictates everything that goes into that paragraph. Every example, every piece of evidence, all of it.
And this is where that whole 5-sentence idea just completely falls apart. Because if the definition is about unity of idea, then in certain kinds of writing, I'm thinking journalism, for example,
Yes.
a paragraph can actually be just one sentence long.
One single, perfectly crafted sentence. And it works because that sentence carries the entire weight of the controlling idea. It shows you the power of just absolute clarity.
So our mission today is to break that down. We want to show you how to stop thinking in these arbitrary blocks of text and start using a really rigorous structural method.
We're going to walk through a 5-step process to make sure your paragraphs are not just long enough, but actually powerful.
Okay, so let's get into it. If a paragraph is a single unit of thought, the big question is, how do you decide what thoughts go where? Where do you even start?
You have to start at the highest level. It always has to begin with your paper's main argument, your working thesis statement.
So every single paragraph has to serve that main claim.
Every single one. There's a great analogy for this. Think of your working thesis not as just a statement, but as a seed.
A scene, right?
The entire paper grows organically from that seed. So every paragraph has to have this direct relationship back to that core idea. If it doesn't, it's a weed. You have to pull it.
I like that. And to plant that seed, you need good soil, which I guess would be the brainstorming phase.
That's the crucial foundational step. It's like building a skyscraper. If your foundation, your brainstorming, your controlling ideas, if that has cracks in it, the whole taper's just going to crumble.
So let's say we've done our brainstorming. We have a solid controlling idea that we know supports the main thesis. What are the non-negotiables for that paragraph, the big 3 checks?
Okay, the 3 characteristics are unity, a clear relation to the thesis, and coherence.
Let's start with unity.
Unified means all the sentences have to be about that single controlling idea, the one that's usually right there in the topic sentence.
But wait a second. If it's unified under the topic sentence, and the topic sentence serves the thesis, aren't the first 2 points, unity and relation to thesis, kind of the same thing?
That is a fantastic question. There's a subtle but really important difference. Unity is a local check. You're asking, does every sentence in this paragraph stick to the topic?
Okay.
But the second check, being clearly related to the thesis, that's the global check. It asks, is this whole unified paragraph actually useful for the paper's main argument?
So you could write a perfectly unified paragraph that's totally irrelevant.
Exactly. A beautiful paragraph on the history of pencils in a paper about Renaissance painting. It fails the global check.
Got it. So that's the insurance policy. And the last one was coherence.
Coherence. This just means the sentences are arranged in a logical way. They flow smoothly from one to the next, guiding the reader without any confusion.
And that's where your structural choices come in, right?
Yeah.
The method you choose depends on what you're trying to do.
Absolutely. If you're telling a story, you use narration, which is chronological, start to finish.
Or if you're explaining how something works step by step.
That would be the process method. But if you're trying to prove a point to convince the reader of something, you use illustration. You give examples.
In an academic writing, that's the big one.
It is. And that's the one we're going to use to demonstrate this 5-step process for building a paragraph.
Okay, let's get into the mechanics. The 5-step construction process. This uses that illustration method giving examples to prove a point, and you have to follow it in order.
You really do. You can't skip a step. And for our model, we're going to use an example from historical research about how enslaved people communicated.
Okay, so step 1.
Step 1, decide on a controlling idea and create a topic sentence. This is the claim. For our model, the topic sentence is, slave spirituals often had hidden double meanings.
Simple and clear. Now, step 2, explain the controlling idea. This is the rationale, right? It's where you tell the reader how to interpret that first sentence.
Exactly, you're anticipating their question. So you explain the dual purpose. On one level, spirituals referenced heaven, Jesus, and the soul, but on another level, the song spoke about slave resistance.
That sets the stage perfectly for the evidence, which is step 3. Give an example.
Right, you have to back up your claim with specifics. So for example A, we can cite Frederick Douglass. He wrote that the song "O Canaan, Sweet Canaan" was about longing for heaven, yes, but it was also a coded message about escaping to the north.
And the lyrics are the evidence.
The lyrics are the evidence. I don't expect to stay much longer here. Run to Jesus, shun the danger.
Okay, so that's one example.
And for a second one, example B, we could mention how songs like "Steal Away to Jesus" at midnight were used to secretly announce the time and place of meetings.
Now we get to the step that I think most people skip, and it's maybe the most important one. Step 4, explain the example.
This is where analysis happens. You cannot just drop a piece of evidence and walk away. You have to connect the dots for the reader.
So for that O Canaan example,
The explanation would be something like, when whites heard this song, they assumed it was only about spiritual salvation. However, the singers knew they were actually describing plans to run to the north. You see, it explicitly connects the evidence back to that idea of a double meaning.
that makes it so much stronger. But what about the steal away example? Do you always need a whole separate sentence for the explanation?
Not always, no. If the connection is super obvious, you might not need it. In that case, the fact that the song was used to announce a secret meeting is itself the explanation. The context does the work.
So steps 3 and 4 are a pair you can repeat.
You repeat them until the point is fully proven.
And finally, step 5. Complete the paragraph's idea or transition. This is the wrap-up.
Yeah, you provide closure. Our completion sentence here could be, what whites heard as merely spiritual songs, slaves discerned as detailed messages. The hidden meanings in spirituals allowed slaves to sing what they could not say.
That lands with a real punch. And it smoothly sets you up to move on to the next point. Okay, so that's the ideal structure. Let's talk about what happens when it breaks.
The troubleshooting section.
Yes, because recognizing the problems is half the battle. Let's start with the most common one.
Oh.
The paragraph has no topic sentence.
Floating paragraph, yeah.
You can use the sandwich analogy here. Your evidence, your quotes, your facts, that's the filling. It's the good stuff. But without the bread, it's just a mess.
The top slice of bread is your topic sentence. It tells the reader what they're about to eat. And the bottom slice is your concluding sentence, which holds it all together.
Exactly. So let's look at an example about piranhas. If a paragraph just starts listing facts like, piranhas rarely feed on large animals, they eat smaller fish.
The reader has no idea what the point is. You're forcing them to do the work. You're just handing them a pile of meat.
But if you add that top slice of bread, if you start with, although most people consider piranhas to be quite dangerous, they are, for the most part, entirely harmless.
Now all those facts have a purpose. They are there to prove that specific claim. It all makes sense instantly.
And we should mention that topic sentence doesn't have to be the very first sentence, right?
No, not always. You might have a sentence before it that acts as a transition. Maybe the last paragraph was about sharks. You could say, like sharks, piranhas are widely feared. Then you deliver your topic sentence. The key is that it appears early.
Got it. Okay, problem number 2, which I see all the time. The paragraph has more than one controlling idea.
Oh, this is the classic. You start off strong on one point, and then you get distracted and gear off in a totally different direction halfway through.
So what's the fix?
You have two choices. Either you cut the sentences that don't belong, or you split the paragraph into two separate unified paragraphs.
So back to our piranha example. We have this nice unified paragraph about how they're harmless. But what if we suddenly add, a number of South American groups regularly eat piranhas. They often fry them.
You've just derailed the entire paragraph. You've switched topics from are they dangerous to are they a food source?
Two totally different controlling ideas.
Right. So you either delete the cooking part or you move it to start a brand new paragraph about piranha consumption.
Simple enough. And the last big issue.
Transitions are needed within the paragraph. We always think about transitions between paragraphs, but they're just as important inside them, especially if you have multiple examples.
They're like little signposts for the reader.
That's a perfect way to put it. They're often just simple words that establish relationships. Let's say our piranha paragraph is now about the two specific situations where they might bite.
Okay.
You need to signal those two distinct points, you could say. The first is when a frightened piranha is lifted out of the water, and then follow with, The second is when the water level in their pools falls too low.
Using the first and the second makes it crystal clear. It keeps the logic clean.
And that's coherence in action.
So that whole system, starting with the seed of the thesis, building the sandwich of the paragraph, and using those 5 steps, that's the path.
Absolutely. The main takeaway here is that it all comes down to unity. Making sure every single piece of information grows organically from your main argument and supports it.
So if you could just keep those 2 analogies in your head, the thesis as the seed and the paragraph as the sandwich, you've got the roadmap.
And the 5-step process is this turn-by-turn navigation.
Exactly. You know, we started this whole thing by saying that sometimes a single sentence can be a paragraph.
Right, in journalism.
So as a final thought,
Mm-hmm.
the next time you're reading the news and you see one of those, apply this lens. Think about how much weight, how much focus a writer has to put into that one sentence for it to carry an entire controlling idea by itself.
That's the real power of clarity, isn't it? When one sentence can do the work of 5.
Cascade me where brains go to broadcast. Cascade me, knowledge speaks, tuition sleeps.